This session is also part of the 8-hour course that I do, and this block, this section is actually a 2-hour session, so we're only gonna get through a portion of it, and I apologize, but I'm jumping in, I'm filling in. I didn't wanna have another break in there so that we had, class after class after class after class, going. So, we're gonna get through a portion of it, and, if you want any other information from what I have here, or you're interested at all in the 8-hour class that I do, hit me up. You can hit me up on Circle or any other social media. So, as I said, this is Triumph Through Struggle. This session actually started as just like a 45-minute or so keynote, and I stretched it out to be a 2-hour block that's part of the class that I do. So we'll go ahead and get started here. I was going to add some polls, but I decided to just leave it out. So, what I want to know though is I want to make sure you can see everything on the screen. So, you can see the Triumph Through Struggle there. Yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure. Because the last couple days, the last few sessions, for whatever reason, ended up there was some weird glitches. So hopefully I didn't jinx that. Everything continues to work well. So what I want to do right away is I just want you to, for this first part, I want you to think about what it was like for you in the beginning. Okay. And I'm gonna read the block description here for this session. And it says, imagine sitting at your console. It has been a busy morning, but you are rolling with the punches. You've taken domestics, given CPR, taken alarm calls, answered the radio, typed in a complaint, and all this over several minutes. You're a seasoned dispatcher, so you and your crew work like a well oiled machine. You hang up the phone, and the door opens. Now imagine you're the person walking into the center, and it's day one. The struggle is real. In this session, we will visit some of those early struggles through story and how to navigate them to become proficient in our career and how to emotionally deal with our experience. This block will take the seasoned and new down a path of reflection to bridge the gap and curb the urge to eat our young. So, again, Erica, I like what you put there. The Matrix can't handle all this greatness. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Again, you're going to get a portion of this. I didn't have a chance to condense this entire thing into the 1 hour, so we're going to go through this here, though. So, what is the significance of employee integration? Here's a question that I want to see if. Oh wait, scared. We had an officer involved shooting on my first day. What did I get myself into? Oh, okay. So we're gonna explore this a little bit. Okay. So as it says on the screen, why is bridging the gap between new and seasoned dispatchers crucial for a healthy workplace? See, what I want to do with this session is to, as I said before, bridge that gap between seasoned and new. And basically, through communication, we can bridge that gap and hopefully curb that urge to eat our young. Okay. And keep people in this profession, at your agency, all of that. So when I asked this question, when I was at the mini conference in Ohio, someone yelled out that all of this was important because they're tired of one losing people, but they're also tired of the overtime. And that's okay. Like, that's a good reason, man. Like, I would want people to stay as well because a lot of folks are working a lot of overtime. Now, again, as I said earlier in my other session, there are a lot of variables to the short staffing, a lot of variables. But what if what we do every single day, which is communicate, which is use our voice, what if that is just like a really big thing? What if we just simply recognized each other? It's a possibility. So, what are some of the benefits as well of a supportive work environment? Can be improved health and well being, increased productivity, and increased caller satisfaction. But that main one there, the improved health and well being. How many of you have gone into dispatch feeling like shit? And then you get there, and others around you are just being shitty as it is. Brings you down even further, does it not? Now, I will say, even when it's kind of crappy in the room or whatever, if you're working with a team, when the phone rings and the shit hits the fan, you end up working like a well oiled machine. And that was one of the things that I enjoyed the most in dispatch. Not the shitty part, not the cattiness or anything like that, but the fact that um, everyone would come together either way to do what we had to do. What if we could do it in a healthy environment? I like that idea. So let's take a look at Triumph. Holy shit, is that the same hat? It's not. It's not the same hat. I'll tell you that right now. But this is a rare photo of me. And usually when I'm about to show this picture, and I'll say it anyway, I usually say, now you know that there's those rare photos out there of like the Loch Ness monster, the Yeti, all of those. Well, I have my own picture, and then I show this picture here because this is a rare photo of me in dispatch. This is back. And yeah, who's that guy? Yeah, exactly. It's me. Um, this is me in 2013. 2013, man. This is me in dispatch. This is about 6 months before I retired out of dispatch and went into the private sector. Seasoned dispatcher here, okay? Confident, focused, experienced, and thriving. That right there, my friends, is the key word, thriving, not surviving. I was thriving. Little did I know that 6 months later, I would be leaving dispatch and starting on this journey that has led me here to all of you today and everything that I do. But it didn't start this way. And I'm sure for all of you as well, if you think about it, if you reflect, it didn't start this way either. So let's hop into that DeLorean. Let's go 88 miles per hour and see some serious shit. Let's go back in time. Let's start at the beginning. And I want you all to think about your beginning as well, okay? As I'm here talking, I want you to think about your beginning as well. Can I do this? In the chat, I want to know, was this a question that you asked yourself in the beginning when you first started? Can I do this? I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I want to see. Exactly. Daily. Yeah. Sometimes, right? Sometimes you still think it because there's so much stuff that you deal with, right? I was the same way as well when I first started out. Can I actually do this? And then when I moved back home to Southwest Michigan, same thing. Now a completely different dynamic of working with a team, not just me by myself for 8 hours. Now I'm working with a team, completely different dynamic. Can I do this? And I was freaking out, man. I wasn't sure. I was going in with about 4 years of but Selena says, "I almost quit so many times. Glad I didn't." I'm glad you didn't either. All of you. I'm glad you're here. And I had about 4 years of experience coming in to that central dispatch, but because it was so different, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I could do it. So, yeah, look at us now. Exactly. Yes. Look at us now, for sure. So, remembering your own beginnings, reflection on when you were new. How did you get into dispatch? Now, the reason this is important is because I have a theory, I have a thought that if a way to bridge the gap between seasoned and new is this reflection. Because after a certain amount of time that we've been in dispatch, we forget. We forget what it was like in the beginning. And for some, maybe also that's why some people tend to eat their young because they forget. So in reflecting, we find out we're not that different. We went through a lot of same things and we can talk about it. We can communicate. Yeah, communicate. So, fear, as it shows here, and I used this picture too because as I mentioned yesterday, and not just during the day, but during After the Greatness, we talked about some of the things that we did to relieve stress, and that was Scrabble. Well, I found this picture and decided to use it. And one of those things that I felt, just like a lot of you, was fear. So, how many of you have watched the movie Armageddon? Love that movie. When this movie came out, the movie before it, about 6 or so months prior, was Deep Impact, another doomsday type movie. But, I mean, it was alright, you know? I liked it at the time. However, when Armageddon came out, it blew it out of the water, in my opinion. In my opinion, it blew it out of the water. But, Chelsea, never seen it or heard of it. Well, you're gonna get to see a clip here, so spoiler alert. The reason I'm playing this clip is because what I'm about to play right now is a scene from there, but to me is a perfect depiction of those feelings that you have in the beginning. Okay? Here we go. It's only a few seconds long and I might play it twice. Here we go.
How you doing, Oscar?
Great. I got that excited, scared feeling. Like 98% excited, 2% scared. Maybe it's more. It could be two. It could be 98% scared, 2% excited. But that's what makes it so intense. Confused. I can't really figure it out.
So, did you get that? He's asking him how he feels. They're about to go attempt to land on an asteroid that is heading for Earth. and they're going to drill a hole to put a nuke in there to explode it to save the world. And he's asking him how he feels. And he says, I have that 98.2% scared, or 98% scared, 2% excited, or, the vice versa. But he says, I can't describe it, that's what makes it, but that's what makes it so intense. And I feel the same way almost. Like that is a good depiction of going into dispatch is 98% excited, 2% scared, or 98% scared, 2% excited. What do you think? What were you? What would you say you were? I type it in the chat when you get the chance. But to me, that is what that to me that was a good depiction. So I wanted to put that in here. Selena says, I call mine the 10% brain. All of the crazy what ifs. I like that. Very nice. So again, to me, this was one to be able to share, to say, yeah, I don't know. Chelsea says 98% scared, 2% terrified. Oh, that's awesome. There you go. For me, it was 98% scared, 2% excited. But it ends up changing, right? Once you get up in there and you start doing things, then you're 98% excited because you're learning and you're doing all this stuff. And then you're 2% scared. So here it is right here. Oh, Pamela says 98% excited. I was 18 and fearless still. I love that. Yes, very cool. So here's some common new job emotions. And yes, this picture was taken a few years ago, and I had found it when I was putting this together months ago for the Ohio mini conference. I found this picture and added it there because I thought this is perfect. It was an old picture, but I thought it was good. You've got that, yeah, ready. I'm not sure. Oh, what's going on? And then just whatever that last face is there in the bottom right hand corner. But what were some of those emotions for you? What were some of those emotions? Because some of those emotions are excited, focused, overwhelmed, scared, feelings of doubt. What about alone? How many of you felt alone? That's another one. We'll get to that here in a moment. Looking at the comments, Gary says, life experience makes the difference. I had just enough life experience that told me if I screw up. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, that if I screw up, that someone dies. Yes. Steve, I was 100% unaffected. I was going to be a cop, and this was just a job to get me there. Selena, autopilot finds its way into you. Brian says, feel alone when management doesn't listen or care. Understand that one. Roxy, I didn't, because I had a good partner in learning and being new. Aw, we rocked it, she says. Yes. Excellent. Good. So these are some of those emotions. And again, it's good to reflect, because reflecting gives us the ability to learn from each other. And also, I mean, we're empaths. We put ourselves in each other, in the shoes of the caller, right? So that we can understand, relate, build that rapport, that trust, to get the answers to our questions as fast as possible, to get help to them as fast as possible. Why can't we use those skills with each other? And maybe sometimes in some places people do, but it doesn't always happen that way, does it? So identifying some key milestones and challenges. This further proves that notion that we can bridge that gap through reflection and storytelling. Because some of these things are things that we've all gone through, and we can connect that way. especially with the newer folks that are coming in. So, what are some of the milestones and challenges you face in the beginning? Passing that preliminary testing, the interview process, the background. These are things that both seasoned and new dispatchers can relate to. So, let me tell you something really quick here. When I started out, and again, this is how we compare and reflect. Yeah, there you go. Psych, exam, interview, academy. So for me, the first test was a typing test. All right. I had two different centers that I was trying to get into at the same time. And then, of course, whoever said yes first, that's where I was gonna go. And one of those centers ended up being for the county that I grew up in. That's the one that I ended up at. But the other one, their test was a typing test. It started out with a typing test. Now you had to be able to type, I think it was 25 words per minute. And which seems easy, right? However, and this was 2005, 2006, something like that. You could only get 3 mistakes, and then that was it. You were done. So, I'm typing away thinking I'm awesome. Mistake number 1. Literally, mistake number 1. And I thought, "Oh, okay. I'm fine. I'm a good typer." Continue typing, and then I go to backspace. Now, what I didn't know was that when you backspace, they count that as a mistake. So now 2 strikes, and I'm freaking out. I passed the test, but how do you think I did it? Good old hunt and peck. Good old hunt and peck. That's what I did because it was safe. I was watching what I was doing, and I could do 25 words per minute just doing hunt and peck, and I passed it. And that was that. The next test after that was a hearing test. And what they had us do was there was about 30 of us in the room, and we had to listen to traffic. Now, this room, the acoustics were not great. There was like echo all over the place, and the traffic was coming through the intercom speakers. So, luckily for me, I already had some time listening to the radio where, officers are basically eating the mic. So I could tell, I knew what they were saying, but what they wanted us to do, they gave us all a scrap piece of paper and a pencil, and they wanted us to write down what we thought dispatch and the officer were talking about. And oh wait, Selena says, "Oh my god, remember that Roxy? So bad. Us too. It was horrible." Okay, this is awesome. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We are relating on reflection through storytelling because we've all been there. And when it was said and done, it narrowed the field down to like 10 of us. After that, it was a panel discussion, a panel interview, rather. It was a 6-person panel, table, 6 people, and me on the other side by myself. And that interview was probably about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. That's how long that interview was. It was crazy. I passed it, but I ended up getting the job over in everybody. Ew, holy cow, Lord. Yeah, because what it was the county administrator, and then it was like captain, sergeant, and then I think it was the deputy director and the supervisor from dispatch. I don't know, something like that. And one person they each had a set of questions. County administrator went with their first question first, and then all the others would add their portions to it. And you went through the whole line. It was nuts. but it was good practice. Either way, I ended up getting the job at the other agency, which was in Allegan, and it was nuts. But again, this is the stuff that we can relate to, right? Wait, did you get a pee break? No, there was no break. You went in and I mean, you know what? Hold on. Let me take that back. I never asked. So maybe you could have had one, but they didn't actually give you one. I probably had to ask, but I was so like, let's do this that there was no break. But I probably should have asked. So here's another movie. Um, this is The Shawshank Redemption. If you've never watched this, you need to. Very good movie. Love it. One of my favorites. The reason I have this picture here is because when you're thinking back at your time in dispatch, especially in the beginning, when you were done with your training, is this how you felt? It was filmed there in Ohio? Nice. Is the jail there too? I'm going to have to go back to Ohio. So, when you finished training, is this how you felt? Hey, Kelsey, what's going on? The curiosity here. Did you feel this way? Now, just for some context here, um, this character here, spoiler alert if you've not watched it, this character um, escaped from prison. He was there for, I don't know, what was it, like 20 years or something for a murder he didn't commit. And Morgan Freeman, who's narrating, ends up saying that Andy Dufresne, he ended up crawling through, what was it, 5 football fields worth of crap that was in this pipe. He gets out to the water, takes his shirt off, and that's that moment of, "Oh my god, I'm out, finally." Let's see, Erica says, "I didn't have standardized training, so no real end." Well, some people, I've done this session a couple times, they have they felt this way when they were done. But here was the question was, why did you feel this way? Was it because you were just simply happy to be done? Or was it because there was something that happened during your training that you were even more so glad to be out of there because of the bullshit that you were dealing with? That's why I ask. That's why I have this here. So, training woes. In the comments here, what were some of your feelings during training? Was there uncertainty, second guessing yourself, trying to please your trainer? Isolation. Ah, there you go. Always second guessing killed me. Yes. So I'll tell you this really quick, and don't get this twisted. I love my old center, both of them. The PD where I started and the central dispatch where I was at. They are my family. I love them, and I always will. I've gone back to visit as well. But when I very first started, the way the training was there in the beginning, which is not at all in any way, shape, or form the way it is now, it is amazing there. In the beginning, when I started, it was a struggle. And the reason for that, and in all of these points here, I have it there because it's the way I felt. There were 3 different trainers, and there was 4 phases. And the 4th phase was the training phase, or the shadow phase rather. And, when I came in for the interview and everything, it was like, we're family, we do this, this, and this. And I was excited, super excited, because I thought, we're going to do this together. We're dealing with lives here, whether it be our callers or all of our folks out in the field. But it wasn't like that because nobody was talking to me. There wasn't a really big welcome. And I was just with my trainer and no one spoke to me. Now I get it. Okay. I do understand that you kind of don't want other folks that are there, um, I guess in a way, kind of butting in, to the training or taking their mind off of it or whatever. But damn, you can say hello. You can you can help make me feel welcome, right? And I had somebody who was working there who actually still works there. Very good friend of mine. Actually a person that I grew up with, a person that I went to school with. This person graduated before me. And even that person was not talking to me, and I thought, "What the hell? What is going on?" And it was it wasn't fun. Every single one of these things is what I was feeling. I almost quit. I remember coming home after one of my shifts, and I said to my wife, I don't know that I wanna do this. I don't know that I can continue because it doesn't seem like people really care or care that I'm there to help and be a team and be part of this family." And the next time I went into dispatch, I talked to my friend and I said to this person, "I think I'm going to quit. I'm thinking about quitting." And the person goes, "No, no, 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 no. Don't quit. That it's just the way they do it here. It's the way they've always done it." Now you guys know that what I just said there sucks. And one of the things that that was going on was, so when I switched from trainer 1 to trainer 2, I was doing some of the stuff the way trainer 1 was doing it, and I was getting in trouble for it. I actually was getting marked down on my DORs, and I was upset. I was pissed because I was like, "What the hell? Like, I'm doing it the right way. You're just mad because I'm not doing it your way?" And then I ended up finding my own way to do it that was a bit faster, and I was still getting in trouble for it. I ended up talking to the deputy director, and things changed. Things changed. I believe I was the last person to go through training the way it was at that time, but things did change, and things there now are completely different. It is awesome. The person, my good friend who had told me, "Don't quit, please stay," and I did stay. That person is the training coordinator there now, and they are doing amazing things with their people. Everyone learned. And even though it was shitty at the time, I'm glad that I was the one who ended up going through it so that nobody else would have to go through it the way it always was. That's the key word, was, because it's not like that anymore. But those were the things that I was going through. Nobody was really talking to me or anything. It wasn't until you got to the shadow phase where it was like, "Okay, flip the switch. Now everybody can talk to you. Now you can do it as a team." And it's like, "Okay." Again, I understand. You gotta be with your trainer, you gotta learn, you gotta learn, you gotta learn and do this other stuff, but at least say hello, you know? Have people feel welcome. They'll want to stay instead of wanting, like me, to quit because it was like nobody really cares. Why should I even be here? Just things to think about, right? Things to think about. So do we eat our young? You can say yes or no in the comments. Do we eat our young? And looking it up, there was actually a definition here. To eat one's young is to neglect, betray, or harshly criticize members of a group that are of a lower status or position. Why do we do this? Why do all of you think that we do this? What are your thoughts? I have some here on the slide, but what are your thoughts? Jealousy? People feel threatened? Treating new folks. This one right here, the third one. Treating new folks how they were treated. Contributing to the vicious cycle. There's that saying that hurt people hurt people. Could that be it? Yeah, like Roxy says there. Well, that's how I was trained. Hurt people hurt people. And that's why we need to talk, communicate. And also, I thought this Cheshire cat was perfect for the eating our young. But we can do something about this. And that's by simply doing what we do every single day. And that's talking. Talking, communicating. We do it on the phone every day. I know a lot of people sometimes will be like, I've been talking all day. I don't want to keep talking. Do you want to keep your people? Do you want to continue this short staff bullshit? Take a moment. Maybe all you need to do is say hello to someone. How are you doing? No, really, how are you doing? Seems easy. We don't always do it. But again, see, Kelsey talking? Ew. Fuck. Just text somebody. I don't know. Communicate. Even if you're sending an MCT message, are you all right? You don't want to talk? Type it. You do it every day. Why not try? You're going to keep getting the overtime. Let's try to talk to each other and keep our folks there. But again, in eating our young, there are these different things here. What is it? Jealousy? Threatened? I think it's mostly because that's how people were treated. And they want to pass it on, contributing to that vicious cycle. Because again, hurt people hurt people. Well, let's talk to each other. Let's see if we can curb that urge to eat our young. So how do we bridge this gap? It's everything that we've been talking about already here. So this is what it once was. This is kind of a look at our brain. When you're first starting out, there's all of these different things going on. See, Andrea here says, first thing every day, make a point to say good morning and walk around the room. I love that. I'll say this really quick. When I was still in dispatch, we had a staff meeting, and one of my coworkers ended up saying, you think you really have the power to influence how I feel? And the person goes, no, you can't make me feel a certain way. And I said, yes, I can. Because if I come in as your supervisor and I'm in a shitty mood, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel that energy. And it's going to hit you as well. And it's going to spread across the room. And you're not going to care. However, if I walk into the room and I'm like, let's do this, it's going to be a good shift, whichever, you're going to feel that too. You're going to be influenced by it. You're going to feel it. It's that energy, that vibe can happen. So this is what it once was in our heads, this attitude, being emotional, that dread, fear. So here we go to the role of empathy in employee integration, okay? Now I have this quote on here from Plato, and maybe it's from Plato, I don't know. But it says, the highest form of knowledge is empathy, for it requires us to suspend our egos and live in another's world. It's what you do every day when you're taking phone calls, every day, being empathetic to those who are calling. Again, the highest form of knowledge is empathy, for it requires us to suspend our egos. Keyword there, egos, and live in another's world. And by definition, empathy, again, it is what we do every day in a profession. It is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another. So, how does understanding the new employee journey foster empathy among your team? Again, this is where we can bridge that gap between seasoned dispatchers and the new dispatchers that are coming in so that we can understand each other and hopefully stop eating our young. I hope this all is making sense. So when we look at this, reflection, as I've been talking, reflecting, it promotes better communication. It builds that trust. And the concept of empathy at its highest is when it's combined with action. We've got about 15 minutes left. And as I said, we're not going to get to all of this. So let's look at some stereotypes really quick. Now, this was where it got a little funny when I was in Ohio with the class because of some of the stuff that was on here, okay? And people just kind of snickering and making comments, which it was kind of funny. But, some of these could be true. Common stereotypes between seasoned and new dispatchers. Seasoned dispatchers might assume that new dispatchers lack the skills or knowledge, leading to feelings of superiority. New dispatchers might see seasoned dispatchers as not supportive or patient enough, while seasoned dispatchers might see them as impatient or over reliant. New dispatchers may stereotype seasoned dispatchers as being tech challenged, while seasoned dispatchers may see new dispatchers as too reliant on tech. Communication, open mindfulness, etc., is key. Now, here's the thing. I have this on here, right? But I want to share a quick story with you because sometimes it's not always like this. So I was in West Virginia. I was in Kanawha County, and I was out there training their entire crew on text for 911 for this platform that the company that I was working for at the time, they were using. And the training coordinator ends up saying to me, I'm not sure how this is going to go. And I said, why is that? And he goes, well, I mean, my newer folks, they are all about texting. It's what they do. It's all about texting. And I said, okay. And he goes, but my seasoned folks, they don't like change. Nobody likes change. And I don't think they're going to take to this. And I said, okay, well, thank you for the warning. We'll see how this goes down. So we end up going through it. And it was the complete opposite. The newer folks really didn't want anything to do with text for 911. Not a thing. They were doing it, but they didn't want to do it. They weren't They really didn't want to get into it. The seasoned dispatchers that were there, and a lot of them that were close to retirement, oh my lord, you should have seen them. They're on their phones, laughing, loving it. It's a couple of them were even saying, "I wish I was staying longer so I could use this longer." Because it's something that they didn't have before, and they were thinking about what it was like in the beginning to what it was at that time, present time, and they were loving it. And I look at the training coordinator, and he's just, "I don't know. I don't know what happened." So the stereotypes are not always that way, right? But these are things to think about. So again, stuff that we're doing already as it is. Communication, active listening. Effective communication is the process of exchanging ideas, thoughts, opinions, knowledge, all of that. And the benefits of that: fewer workplace conflicts, increased engagement, and enhanced motivation. All of this can happen. It's going to take some work, but we can do it. It can be done. That's why this session is called Triumph Through Struggle, because it is a struggle, right? But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It is possible. So these are just a few more points here. You can take screenshots if you want. Um, but these are just tips for effective communication. When you're asking certain questions to each other, when you're having these conversations, what is the goal? Who needs to hear this? How should I pass the message across? Practicing active listening. Again, these are the foundation, these concepts, they're things that we do already. It's going back to basics, and sometimes that's what we have to do, is go back to basics, which again is where that reflection comes into play. Going back to basics, going back to the beginning, reflecting. It's all there. So building bridges, strategies for integration. Now, because we're getting towards the end of this hour, I'm going to pass a few slides because there's one thing that I want to make sure to go over, and that is the team building piece. I've got a piece in here about buddy programs and mentors. Um, but again, this is a 2-hour portion of an 8-hour class that I have that combines so many things, but the main thing that's there is communication, storytelling, and reflection. It seems basic, it seems simple, but you know as well as I do that the little things are always really big. And those little things, most of the time, are the ones that are most important. So, for all of you here, how many of you practice team building? In the comments, how many of you do practice team building? Ah, Chelsea, we don't, but I need some ideas. So we do. Excellent. All right. We're going to get to some of that here in just a moment. All right. So team building. Hopefully you can hear this. The volume is kind of low for this one, but and it's like 2.5 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and play it. If you haven't seen this already, this is Remember the Titans. Good movie. And yeah, there you go. There's a reason that I have this. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. Again, it's like 2.5 minutes long, and hopefully you can hear it. You might have to turn up your speakers a little bit because it is kind of low.
You want any of us to play for you? You reserve half the open positions for Hammond players. Half the offense, half the special teams. We don't need any of your people on defense. We're already set.
Don't need none of my people.
Mm-hmm.
What you say name was Jerry?
Gary.
No, you must have said Jerry like Lewis, which would make you Dean Martin, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, got an announcement to make. We got Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin going to camp with us here this year. Jerry tells the jokes, Dean sings the songs, and gets the girl. Let's give him a round of applause.
Where's your folks, Gary? Parents, are they here? Where are they?
That's my mother.
That's your mama?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, I want it. Take a good look at it. Because once you get on that bus, you ain't got no mama no more. You got your brothers on the team. You got your daddy. Now, you know who your daddy is, don't you? Gary, if you want to play on this football team, you answer me when I ask you, who is your daddy? Who's your daddy, Gary? Who's your daddy?
You.
Uh-huh. And whose team is this? Is this your team? Or is this your daddy's team?
Yours.
Mm-hmm. Get on the bus. Put your jacket on first. And get on the bus. Dean? Fix that tie, son.
There's a moment of realization here.
All right, listen up, listen up. I want everybody off the bus. Let's go. Follow me, everybody. Let's go right now. All right, everybody off the bus. Listen up. I don't care if you're black, green, blue, white, or orange. I want all of my defensive players on this side, all players going out for offense over here, right now. Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. Let's move. You and you, offensive bus, sit together. You and you, defensive bus, sit together. Get comfortable, too, because the person that I have you sitting next to is the same one that you'll be rooming with for the duration of this camp.
All right. So the reason I play that, and if you've watched the movie, everyone is fighting, okay? Nobody's getting along. And I'm not saying that's the way it is all the time or anything in your centers. But with seasoned and new dispatchers coming in, sometimes we just need to understand each other. Now, the reason, again, that I play this is because in that moment of realization that you see Denzel Washington's character have is because he needs to bring them together. And even after that, after they're together and they're rooming together, they all get into a fight. So he tells them that they need to get with every single person that is on their team and learn from each other, talk, learn about their family, learn about their likes, their dislikes, whatever, because that is how they're bringing them together by simple communication. And that's what we've been talking about this whole hour, is simply learning from each other. And by doing so, maybe we can curb that urge to eat our young because we're going to understand each other. I hope that makes sense. Now, I asked this question already about promoting team building. The benefits of team building: strengthens camaraderie, improves morale, fosters collaboration, communication, promotes creativity, and helps you identify your leaders. Again, if you've never watched this movie, you should. It's the ultimate bringing people together. So we're going to end on this on this one right here. I forgot about the picture that I have on here. Oh my God. So, team building examples. And so these are some of the ones that we did, okay? Because during this time at my center, morale was super low. Nobody was really getting along. Nobody was getting any time off. Like, no time off. Not one person the entire year in 2007 could we take time off. That's how short-staffed we were. It was the only time that the county allowed us to roll over all of our PTO time so that we could actually use it because nobody could use it at that time. And our director and deputy directors, we were all trying to figure out a way to bring us together, to bring that morale up. And for some of those newer folks and the seasoned folks to come together as well. So they brought out these team building examples. And I'll tell you right off the bat, we did not want to do it. We were like, hell no, no one is going to do this. This is a stupid idea. But we did it. They made us do it. They told us we were going to do it. And we did it. And damn it, it was fun. And it did actually bring us together. Even though in the beginning we were like, hell no. But once we started talking and really putting some thought into all of this, it was working. It was a struggle, but there was triumph. It did work. So the who am I? What we did was we placed, it was a baby or a childhood picture. There was a few of them, and we put them on a wall. And we got to list a few details or whichever, but we had to guess who was who and bring it together that way. Now, as you can see in my pictures, I kind of look the same. There's me on the left with my Winnie the Pooh piñata that I believe my mom made that. She made it. And then the picture on the right, again, is myself and my younger brother, Fernando. And here's the thing. My mom has been a hairstylist since before I was born, okay? And so when she was in school and learning so many different things, my brother and I were her guinea pigs. So as you can see, we have cop hair here. There is a picture that I will not post, but when my mom was learning how to do perms, there's a picture of me in rollers, dude. But this is what made it so much fun, because we started to learn about each other, and we were seeing these pictures that, kind of embarrassing, but also funny. It actually brought us together, man. We also had one that we did where we would decorate a section of our center. So each one of us had a different corner for our teams, and we got to choose, one of whatever we had going on there, whether it be movies, TV shows, or decades. And what my team ended up doing is we did Top Gun. It was it was so stupid, but it was fun. It was hilarious because what we did was, and I'm talking like 80s Top Gun, of course, because the new one wasn't made yet. But we were all in like plain white shirt. We had these aviators and we had our hair up and everything. And we took pictures. But for whatever reason, we also took a picture by this big ass plant that we had. And we were looking through it almost like our, plane had crashed and we were behind enemy lines. It was so dumb, but it was so fun at the same time. And it really did end up bringing us together. So in all of this, there is a way to get through. There's a way for us to come together. And it's through the basics that we do all the time. Wait, James, hey, Mav, what's that number? So I hope that even with the condensed portion of this, that you were able to get something from this session, this triumph through struggle. Because there's another section that's part of this where, we talk about feedback loops, the role of leadership, and then that actual road to triumph, where we talk about emotional intelligence, the way to retrain your brain, your mind. And there's this link where you can take this test as well to improve your emotional intelligence. We also go over mindfulness and different exercises that can be done benefits of meditation, and also peace in the chaos with these breathing techniques. And the reason for these portions that I've had, that I've added for this road to triumph, is because all of these things you can do to not only better yourself, but will help in those moments when you're trying to connect with each other, to talk. There's a lot of stuff there. But again, I hope that this session, that you were able to take something from it and take something back to your centers as well, and to realize that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that we can bridge that gap between newer dispatchers, seasoned dispatchers, or seasoned and seasoned, new and new, whichever, that we can all come together, keep people at our agencies. I mean, if they end up going to a different agency, I mean, you can't really stop that, right? But all I'm saying is to keep them in the profession so that we can at least get close to a solution for the short staffing issue. And with all the other variables, if it comes down to what we do every single day, which is using our most powerful weapon, our voice, then why not try it? Thank you all very, very much. I appreciate you. And again, I hope you enjoyed this session. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you very, very, very much. And that was a lot of fun. That was good. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. This was excellent. And if you have any questions or anything, you know how to get a hold of me. I'm going to be spending a lot of time over on Circle to continue to build that community and add stuff like this, because the way I've been going live over there these past couple days for After the Greatness, I can do the same thing in a course type session. So I want to be able to do this stuff as well. And like I said, this is part of an 8-hour class that I do. If you want to check it out, hit me up. You know how to get a hold of me. So thank you very much. I'm going to go to the next session, which is going to be with those 911 girls. It's going to be with Erica and Yasmin, and they're going to be doing a session called Public Education is More Than Teaching Kids to Dial 911. So we will see you here in just a moment. And what Cassie says, I sent the link for your recruiting presentation to our HR. It was, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next session. See you soon.